Hello and welcome to our first roundtable event for the IREB Community in India. A warm welcome from my side. My name is Sten Bühne. I'm the Managing Director of IREB, and I'm happy to kick off this first event for the community in India. Because I'm super happy. I've just been visiting India in April, so I met Dr. Pramod, Kumar and Surendra Saxena. And there we had the initial idea of initiating the community in India. And so this is our first online event. I hope that will follow some other events. But today I'm super happy to have Rory Keddie from Miro with us in our call, giving us some insights on how RE tasks can be supported by Miro and artificial intelligence that's implemented in Miro. I think this is super interesting for each and everyone today because everywhere where we talk to people, AI is somewhere integrated and everybody is talking about AI. So I think for me it's super interesting to see what's happening there, what could be offered. And on the other hand side, as already mentioned, I'm super happy having our two ambassadors, Dr. Kumar and Surendra Saxena, with us in our first roundtable. Both of them are our ambassadors for our community in India, means they are building up the community. Probably a few of you already know them because they have contacted you and motivated you to join the session or the community. And just handing over to you, maybe starting with you, Pramod, just introduce yourself shortly.
So hello, good evening, and I'm here as the ambassador to IREB India community to bring all of you and all your friends together. I'm with around 40 years of experience in RE, business analysis, architecture and design, project management, and currently engaged with developing some process automation using AI for REB and project management. Welcome, Rory. It would be
Thank
nice to
you.
hear from you. Thank you,
Yes,
Stan.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Pramod. Surendra.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to have Rory in this first roundtable. And what a topic, actually. Artificial intelligence is impacting everything. You know, we use ChatGPT for many things. So why we can't use for requirements engineering, and how can we leverage those tools? So it's just a peek into the possibilities that the tool provide, and Rory has kindly agreed to really deliver this event. As part of my role of IREB India community, I would like to emphasize that this community is for the community members. This event is the first event, so we were thinking of what could be the better topic, and there cannot be any better topic than artificial intelligence and using some tools to help requirements engineers do their work well, because requirements engineering work is really difficult without tools. So this is a good topic. However, going forward, I will be very interested in listening to the comments of the audience because this event, this platform is for you. So we would like to get or invite your comments, the suggestions, the topics, cadence, physical events, virtual events, everything is open. So we will be very happy to receive your comments. I will really encourage you to write your comments and suggestions in the chat box so that me and Pramod and Stan, we can collate those things and we will work towards fulfilling some of those things. Right. So with this, I will hand over to Stan. If you want to add any words, or Rory, please, we will not come in between your presentation, which is super exciting, and anything else.
Super, thank you, Surendra. Just giving one more thing. So this session is recorded, so this means each and everyone who would not be able to join, share this also in your network. They could visit this session live as a recorded session on YouTube and also on LinkedIn after this event took place. And as Surendra already mentioned, please feel free to use the chat. If you have any questions, if you have suggestions for, let's say, next roundtables or next events you would like to talk about, you would like to learn about, please feel free to ask, and we will also look at the chat afterwards to come up with, let's say, your points. And because this is an event for the community, this means we would like to talk about things that are on interest on your side. So having said this, handing over to Rory, warm welcome again from our side. Maybe so it's your stage.
Thank you. Thanks all. It's great to be here. I'm joining you from London. I'm not actually sat in front of a swimming pool. That's just my background. It's much chillier here at the moment. Very fresh, good for running, as we were just discussing. But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm joining from Miro. I'll talk a bit about my background. I'll talk a little bit about Miro, but the main point of today is to showcase some of the latest AI features and functionality that we've been developing so that you can go away with lots of ideas for things that you can explore in your practice. I think we're going to share the link to this board as well. So there'll be a couple of moments of engagement throughout the session, and it would be great for you to kind of experience some of what we've built firsthand as well. But yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Rory, based in London, as I mentioned. We have an office in London at Miro, but we're actually based in Amsterdam. So I've worked at Miro for about a year and a half now, but previously my background is in product and service design and innovation. So that's kind of where I'm coming from from. So just to caveat, you're all obviously the experts when it comes to requirements engineering. So take the things that I showed today and kind of explore them in your own practice and see how you can apply these. But this isn't my first hello. I had the absolute pleasure of sharing some of what we've been developing and building internally at the Your Explore conference this summer. It's a bit colder now. It's a few months past. So we have actually developed the AI features and functionality quite a bit since this moment. So some of what I showed today actually isn't live in the product, but I want to give you a kind of preview of what's to come, and there'll also be a chance to get early access. I want everyone here to be able to get early access. But yeah, I had the chance to speak on this topic earlier in the summer, but some things have evolved since then, and as everyone is aware who's kind of working alongside or part of the AI space, things are of course moving very quickly. So that's no surprise really. But yeah, I'll step back for a moment and just give a little bit of background about Miro. So we are 15 years old. We're founded by Andre, who is our CEO still today. And Andre has a background in design, is very passionate about problem solving and collaboration. So he created Miro as a kind of digital virtual space for teams to come together and collaborate. And so we started life pretty much as like an online whiteboard for sticky notes, brainstorming, collaboration. And that was with this mission to empower teams to create the next big thing, which is still true today. But we've evolved a lot in that time. We're proud to just, I think, 2 weeks ago, announce that we've reached this 100 million user milestone, which is very exciting. So we've grown a lot as a product and a business. And as you'll see today, we've also evolved quite a lot, especially when it comes to the AI space. But sticky notes are still a very important part of the Miro experience, as we'll see today. A little bit of Miro trivia for anyone who's interested is that the number of Miro sticky notes posted to Miro boards all around the world every day is 12 million. This is one of the flip card features. And I did actually create this little mini globe with Miro's AI image generator as well. So lots of stickies. But of course, for anyone working in, building new products and services, especially around requirements engineering, something might start as an idea on a Post-it note in a team exercise. But, the real challenge is working with stakeholders, creating these lists of requirements, refining them, and then getting to something that is actually going to be built and bringing value to customers, to businesses, and to our stakeholders in general. So this has been our vision, basically, to move from just being an online whiteboard with sticky notes for that early part of collaboration to actually be a much more useful end-to-end tool that helps teams across the various phases of a project. And we see this especially challenging at the moment because there are a lot of tools that we use as we move through different cycles of a project. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, lots of tools that we use are designed specifically for specific use cases, from synthesizing, making sense of feedback and research data, through to kind of project management, backlog management. So our vision is to. Sorry, I thought I locked these boards, but maybe I didn't. If I come here, so our vision is to move from the messy landscape of work as we go through into something that is kind of much more centralized, and so a space where teams can collaborate as they work through the different phases of a project. And this is really key to how we're also thinking about where AI plays a role. So we don't want AI to be a kind of individual productivity gain. We're all using a lot of chat-based AI tools at the moment, which kind of bring benefits to us as individuals. But what we're really thinking about is how can AI actually support on the team level as you move through kind of the discovery work, as you're synthesizing research into the define stage, where you might be kind of articulating, writing a list of requirements, and then actually into the delivery as well. So we're kind of thinking about AI as an extra pair of hands or a collaborator for the team and through the different phases of a project. So AI really needs to happen where teamwork happens for us to see the value as across our projects and our organizations. So today I'm going to do a bit of an icebreaker, so we get a sense of like how familiar people are with Miro, how confident people are using AI, and what AI use cases you have today. But I just to say that I love India. I've had the opportunity to visit previously. Here I am in front of the Taj Mahal. So I thought it would be fun to actually kind of work together as a team to try and stress test some of the Miro AI functionality to actually build a new product together. So I'm thinking we could build a product that helps solo travelers who are visiting India for the first time. So we'll come back to that. But we're going to go through these different phases of a typical project. And I'm going to focus in on a few specific areas. So in the discovery phase, I want us to imagine that we've spoken to stakeholders, we've run some user interviews, and we're going to imagine how to leverage AI to synthesize that raw qualitative data into something more prioritized and tangible. And then I want us to think about actually writing requirements and articulating them as user stories, for example, and see how AI can help us there. Then thirdly, I want us to think about actually bringing these to life in a more visual, tangible way. So this is more related to creating a digital product or service, but I'm going to showcase some ways that we can leverage AI to help us in prototyping. And then lastly, I'm going to show with a new feature we've created called Flows, you can create an end-to-end workflow where different parts of your work are connected. So this is what I have in mind for the agenda. Do a quick icebreaker, get a sense of your familiarity with Miro and confidence using AI. And then, want to showcase basically AI use cases that we're imagining in these three areas. So the sense making, so synthesis, then how can we leverage AI in the ideation and the define stage, and then can we create a kind of end-to-end workflow where some of the elements we can speed up by leveraging the power of AI for processing lots of information and creating the right output if we give it the right context, which is definitely another theme of this talk. Cool. So I'll zoom out for a moment. And so I can see a few people on the board. If you haven't been able to join the board, that's fine. Just participate in the chat as well. So just for those of you who are here, I'm going to bring everyone to me. And let's just kick off with just getting a sense of like how familiar people are with Miro at the moment. No surprises that I use Miro quite a lot. This is called an alignment scale, which you can use in collaborative sessions that you work on in Miro. And overall confidence with AI, I am firmly in the getting there stage and experimenting. Are those of you who are on the board, are you able to click on the scale to give a sense of where you are? Stan, I don't know if are you on the board?
I'm on the board, yeah. I can also do it.
Yeah, have a click just to see if it does work. So it's not only me. There we go. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Feel free to use the dot vote, but if you just press a little dot here, it should come up with a little avatar, and then yeah, let us know. Yeah, how would you rate your overall confidence with AI at the moment? Cool. So we have some familiarity with Miro. Quite a lot of people are new to Miro. That's great. Heather gave a good intro there. Nice. Okay. And then we can see there's a range of confidence levels when it comes to AI as well. Some feeling a bit more confident, some feeling slightly less, but kind of on that journey. So hopefully today we will, give you quite a few ways that you can leverage AI in your practice as well. So on that, now I'm just curious to ask you, if I bring everyone here, I'd love to get a sense of, how are you using AI in your work or life? I'm going to turn on this feature called private mode, which if you're running collaborative sessions on Miro, you can hide people's answers. And then I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock because I'd love to just get a sense of, how you are currently using AI. Just double click on the sticky notes and then you can write one of the use cases that you are currently using AI for. Okay, nice. I can see, quite a few people have contributed here. If you're new to Miro, this is like a facilitation toolbar. So there's lots of features here that are very useful for running collaborative sessions, which you might have with your stakeholders. I can come to the private mode tab here, and I can end private mode. So you can see at the moment all the answers, apart from the one I wrote, are anonymized. So it's a good thing to do for retrospectives or brainstorming to reduce things like groupthink. No one's able to see each other's answers at this stage. But I've turned it off, so everyone should get a little notification that it's been turned off. Nice. And so we can see here, great. So we can see encoding and requirements to solve automation ideas, already writing requirements. Awesome. Email drafting. Nice. Use it to create a lot of different artifacts for gathering information and structuring the data. Cool. Okay, so it looks like there's already some really useful AI examples here. I will show some of how you can do this in Miro, and hopefully build on this in some ways as well. I'm also going to use this icebreaker just quickly to show you 3 ways that you can access the core AI features when you're in Miro. So one thing you can do is come to this icon here on the side, and this brings up, it looks a little bit different for me because I am on a newer version of Miro, but you'll be able to see, if you're using the current version, Miro, these formats. So you can create content in any of these formats. So tables, docs, images, diagrams. We'll go into a few of these in a bit more detail today anyway. The second way you can access the AI features is by selecting content that's already on the board. And then this comes up with the Miro AI. And this basically lets you transform content that you've selected. So you've selected the context by selecting these sticky notes. And then you can do a number of things. You could create a summary of this meeting, for example. We could also translate this content into French, for example. Say we have stakeholders from multiple different places joining us, and we want to make sure everything is inclusive. Now we have the responses written in French. I can go back to the English for now, but we have lots of languages available to translate requirements in as well, which I think is would be very useful, especially if you're working with multiple stakeholder groups across different languages. But the third way you can use the Miro AI is by actually adding prompts into the Miro board itself. So this is called an action shortcut that I've added into the board. And if I open it up, you're able to configure this prompt. So I'm asking it to summarize. I want it to create a doc, but remember there are other formats that we could create as well that we'll explore today. And then the source. So this is important. You're setting the context for the AI. Anyone who's worked with AI knows that the importance of giving the right data input in order to get the right data output. We're selecting this as the input of what everyone has written here. And then we're selecting the destination as this frame here. And I've written a prompt here to summarize these stickies with AI use cases by IREB members. Keep it very succinct. And then if I press it, it will have a read through of the sticky notes on the left-hand side. And then we're moving into a more structured format like a doc, basically. But we could use a table, we could use another format. That depends. But yeah, so just to introduce there, the 3 ways that you can use the AI. You can create in different formats by coming up to this tab. You can transform content by selecting the content and then coming here to translate or turn into a summary, or you can actually add these prompts onto the board to speed up moments in your collaborative sessions that you might be running. So here we have, some use cases from IREB members already. So requirements engineering, not surprising there. Development support, documentation, communication, and then research and information management as well. Great. Okay, so it looks like there's already some great AI use cases happening already. I've introduced some of the ways that you can access the Miro AI. Now I want to return to our product example of creating a new product for first-time tourists to India. And we're going to go through the discovery phase of making sense of the stakeholder data, user data, to synthesize and arrive at some insights of where we might want to focus. And then in the define stage, we want to write the requirements for the product that we want to build, articulate those as user stories, and then maybe even prototype a version of this. And then lastly, as we move into delivery, I want to showcase how with the Miro Flows feature, you can actually connect different stages of your workflow and ask AI to help at key moments as well. So I will move into the next section, which is to talk a little bit about the discover phase. So of course, at the start of a project, we are trying to make sense of the lay of the land, synthesize lots of data, lots of information, and put ourselves in our customer shoes and our stakeholder shoes to really understand and empathize with what these requirements could look like. So in simplified term, we're trying to go from lots of data in different places and different sources into something that feels more actionable, that can guide us as we move through the process. So it's worth just emphasizing, especially at this stage, that there are core strengths here that are not going to be replaced by AI at all, and that is our sense of being able to collaborate in teams, collaborate with stakeholders, that curiosity to really get at like the core needs and actually empathize with those that we are designing for. That sense of empathy and care is obviously very unique to us. And at every stage in this process, even if AI has helped us along the way to speed up a process or synthesize more data, it's down to us to show that level of critical judgment that comes from our experience and expertise. So at every stage, these are arguably the most important traits. But of course, one thing AI is extremely good at is processing a lot of information. And for a long time, machines have been able to do this much better and much quicker than we can, which is why we use computers day in, day out. So yeah, there's a bit of a kind of combination here of like the real skills of like teams and individuals within teams, and then leveraging AI in the right areas to be more effective and impactful. But of course, even if we are leveraging the power of AI to process more information, if the data isn't right at the beginning, then the output is not going to be helpful, which is partly why it's so important to show this critical judgment at each stage, to be able to review the output and make sure it is taking us in the right direction, but the importance of actually having the right data to begin with. So at Miro, at least, we have been introducing new formats and also integrations with other tools so that Miro can provide the right context for the AI to actually be helpful at key moments in the workflow. So tables to organize information in a structured way. We have docs, slides. Tables can be configurable of time as timelines as well. And you can also sketch out diagrams. So each of these formats you can create with AI on Miro, but you can also use these as the context, the input for the AI. And we feel that the benefit of the canvas as a medium is that you set the context for the AI. I showed you at the beginning, we have that little example of like synthesizing the output of our little icebreaker brainstorm, and I was able to select that as the context and then move into a synthesized document. So that's a bit of a kind of taster of what's to come. But the real power and the way that the teams can actually get value from AI is being able to bring the right data into one centralized space and therefore determine the quality of the output that will then need to be reviewed and worked on with the team through showing critical judgment and deciding the path that we go forwards. So yeah, so today for this stage, I just want to show two key things. I want to show how by bringing data in to a centralized space, we can move with the AI to actually synthesize into more structured formats that can then guide us as we go forwards. And we can create a requirements doc, for example, that can then help us as we move through into the define stage. So I want to take us back now to our example. and I want us to imagine that we are speaking to stakeholders with a view to creating a new product that's going to help first-time solo travelers to India, of which I have been I have been one in the past. So, of course, the idea for Miro, especially in the discovery, is you can use the platform as a place to centralize key information when it comes to building a holistic view of the challenge that you're working on. So in this case, we may have spoken to the Indian Tourist Board. We've interviewed international tourists, and we're speaking to local tourism providers as well. And we can start to pick up on some of the challenges that can define this brief around making sure that there aren't any kind of translation or communication issues in smaller towns, or cultural events haven't had as much visibility in recent times. So how can we improve the attendance amongst this group, for example? So we're getting a bit of a sense of like what the needs of stakeholders are. But one thing that we might want to do is, if I zoom out for a moment, is actually speak to our users. So speak to the likes of me, who've come to visit India and have had an amazing time, and we want to understand what that experience is and how could we enhance that with a digital product or service. So here, if I zoom in closely, you can see these are just transcripts from interviews with potential users of this product. So we've spoken to a solo traveler from Spain, we've spoken to someone from Germany, and then a retired couple from the UK. So here we have 3 user interviews. We could have more, of course, but here I have a different format. So I have the tables format, and you'll see here at the top of the tables format, I have written a prompt. So I'm saying, summarize the key findings from this user research and identify the main pain points, needs, and behaviors of international tourists visiting India. So one thing that is quite nice here is that I have actually connected the documents as the input to the output of the table. So I'm going to run this now so it works, but I will come out of present mode for a moment just to show you how this works. So if I come to this tab, so I'm actually I can toggle between AI mode and non-AI mode on Miro. So now I'm in AI mode. Everything here, every format or piece of data that you have on the Miro board, you can actually connect through these little tabs here. So I've connected these documents as the input, and then I'm asking the AI to synthesize this qualitative research into a more structured table view, which it's doing at the moment. So nice. So I can now zoom in to the input. With each of these formats as well, you can go into a focus mode as well. So you're away from the kind of busyness of the canvas, but you can see here, if you look closely, that it has categorized the research into pain points or needs. It's written a description, and it's also had a go at creating, an impact level, or picked out on like the different tourist types. So we had the retired couple, we have the solo traveler. So of course, with each of these, the point I made at the beginning, we'll need to review this output as a team, and we will need to prioritize where we want to focus. But we can drag the content out of the board here, and it's all synced to the table. So if I bring this in, we can then work with the insights to prioritize where we want to focus. But the AI has helped us with its processing power and the right data input go from some raw interviews, transcripts. We only have 3 here, but of course you could have many more, into something that's more structured and manageable that we could then take forward, present to stakeholders, review, and decide, where are the areas that we want to design to and focus on. And so with that, we might gather our team together to start writing out, what the functional and non-functional requirements might look like. So this could be a little brainstorm with stakeholders, for example, and then we could decide, are we aligned on this or are we not? And then again, with the flows functionality, we can actually connect these. So that's already connected. You can see here, if I go here, there's a flow that connects this brainstorm here into a doc format. So based on the selected notes, extract the user requirements and business requirements, format each as a clear requirement statement. User requirements should reflect tourist goals and frustrations. Business requirements should reflect organizational objectives from stakeholders. So we could even connect the stakeholder interviews and the data there into this doc as well. But we can move from something that we've done. We've reviewed the output in the table. We've come together as a group with our stakeholders to collaborate on, what are the core, requirements that we want to articulate and take forward. And now we are leveraging the AI to move into another format that helps us go create a summary of our workshop that we've done. So here we go. It's articulating some of the requirements here. It's been very succinct. But you can see here, based on this input, if we'd added, lengthier input or connected more data, it would update as well. So as an example of that, I can connect to this table with the insights, and then I could run it again, and this workflow would update. So we've changed the input now, so therefore the output will be adapted as well based on that. Cool. So you can see this flow. We've created one step in the flow, but you could also create numerous steps in the flow as well. So as the data changes earlier on in the discovery phase, we can see that impacting the output as we move further along as well. So you can see here now that based on connecting to the insights from our qualitative research, we have listed some user requirements that is much more in depth. The input before was just this brainstorm from our stakeholders. Now the input is this refined list that we as a team have reviewed and improved. Obviously, I'm moving quite quickly for time through this, but you can see here that we have written, the AI has written a list of user requirements and business requirements as specified. Cool. So that's a couple of examples of some of the ways that we could leverage AI's processing power to help us as a team that's collaborating, that's showing curiosity, empathy, care for those that we're designing for, but helping us kind of move along the process to speed up key moments and arguably process more data and information in less time as we do that. And because it's on the canvas, you can select the input data for the context, and that, of course, based on the quality of that, determines the quality of the output that you get. But as a team, we're going to review the outputs and make sure we are in a good position to move through into the define stage as well. So what does this look like, and what are some of the ways that we might think about using AI at this point? Well, we've kind of gone from the data into something that's kind of more refined and more actionable. But here, we're brainstorming ideas to bring this to life, and we might be coming up with lots of ideas, lots of ways to articulate this, lots of different user stories, for example. But how do we leverage AI to make this more effective? And also, the point I want to make here is arguably be able to have better conversations between stakeholders and the teams by not just sharing written forms of requirements, but bringing these to life as real tangible prototypes in the case of digital products and services. Because yeah, a lot of time, as this meme suggests, before we build anything, let's PowerPoint the idea to death. So how can we make use of AI to visualize ideas and test more ideas and run more experiments than we previously could before? So we increase the likelihood of building the right thing. And prototypes are a very effective way of doing that. They help us, think through a concept in more depth, have really good conversations with engineers, designers, stakeholders, business stakeholders, and even our customers in order to learn and iterate and make improvements as well. But of course, not all of us have the design skills to bring some of these ideas to life visually, but maybe there are some ways that AI can help us there. And yeah, the real opportunity I think AI brings here is just the ability to test out more solutions than we previously could, and have better conversations, run more experiments at a lower cost, and thereby increase the probability of building good solutions. So let's see a couple of ways that we could do this now. So I want to show another thing that well, these two elements are live in Miro. Well, prototyping is, but Sidekicks is very new and is currently in beta. So I'm going to show what that means. But as we move into kind of writing epics, writing user stories, for example, we might want to create like an AI assistant, for example, that could help our team to review user stories, to write user stories, to write things like acceptance criteria. But of course, we don't want anyone helping with that. We have the expertise and the critical judgment in the team, but perhaps we could we could program an assistant that has this best practice to hand off some tasks to along the way, for example. So I'm going to showcase what this looks like. So one thing that we've launched into beta is to be able to program these expert assistants, basically. So you can give them expert knowledge, but you can also give them some clear instructions as well. So I'll come out of the present mode just to show you what this means. So if I go to Sidekicks here, this little tab, this comes up with my sidekicks. So I have made a few, including Rex. So Rex can transform requirements into precise, testable statements that drive project clarity and success. So if I come to the edit button here, so Rex is requirements engineering expert, and I have written these instructions here. So you are, typo, trained in requirements engineering best practices, and you're capable of helping teams elicit, write, validate, manage, and trace high quality testable requirements through the product life cycle. So there's more instructions here I've written, but also you can add PDFs and knowledge to these assistants. So this is a program with requirements engineering best practice. This is a bit of an experiment because this is very new and something we've created, but this is the idea that it won't just be like a general assistant. It's an assistant that's actually helpful to you and the team, for example. So maybe if I come back here, we have these like requirements that we wrote before. I'm selecting this as the context, and now I'm asking our assistant that has this knowledge of best practice to do an evaluation of the requirements that we wrote before. So if I select this, we can have a look. So it's not just asking kind of a general AI now that's that is trained on everything and the internet. It's you're deciding what knowledge this AI has, and what is actually going to be helpful to you and your team. So you have more confidence basically in the output that it is generating. So yeah, so you can see here it's having a go at reviewing all of the requirements that we wrote, and it is suggesting things that are a bit ambiguous, not very clear what the goals are, and suggesting some ways that we could improve what was written. Well, what the AI wrote in this case, but obviously I'm demoing what the AI can do. In reality, this is going to be what the team did with a little bit of help from AI. And now, yeah, we have this expert assistant that has certain levels of expertise that are genuinely helpful here to help review the requirements we have written. But a couple of other things I was thinking that might be useful for this sidekick was you could select a user story, for example, and you could ask the sidekick to suggest writing acceptance criteria, for example, and see what the output looked like there. So that's another idea, but I'm sure you will think of much better ideas than I possibly can for this. But here, for the sake of time, I decided not to generate this live because it does take about a minute or a minute and a half to generate. But here I wanted to show you an example of moving from the requirements into a list of user stories. So I've kept the doc format, but I could have these in sticky notes if that was easier. And yeah, it'd be very easy to take these out, and then I can add these onto a sticky note. So they're in the user story format here, and I can also manipulate these into different cards. So I could work with the sidekick to write acceptance criteria, for instance, and I could add this acceptance criteria into the description here. So that's an example of a user story. But here I've used the flows again. So I have a list of epics here. So we have personalized day planner, offline map access. Remember, this is the app for first-time solo travelers to India. Local events discovery and alerts, family-friendly discovery, themed cultural paths. So a lot of ideas that we would have come up with as a team, and we're starting to kind of break this down into epics and user stories now. So this is working with the flow. Please break this down into user stories. Of course, if you're working with the sidekick and it had that special training on how you wanted to articulate user stories, you could use that as a help here as well. But you can see this is the broken down list of user stories. And now, instead of just having to have a conversation with the team or stakeholders or designers, engineers around a written document, we can leverage AI to actually bring these ideas to life as something that's not a finished product, but it's a way to have a useful conversation about where we're heading. So this is actually fully generated by the AI. Create an app for tourists visiting India, and I've connected as context the user list of user stories here. And it's even, I've also connected it to the IREB colors. So it has the brand colors for IREB. And then we can actually go in and click through this experience and see, what we have created, and then have a conversation about what we want to build, basically, or what we don't want to build. So you can see that, it's not perfect, but everything within this prototype is changeable, it's clickable, and it's interactive as well. And what's nice here is that, to my point about leveraging AI to be able to experiment on more ideas, of course, we can take these user stories and we could generate a different prototype that's based on a different idea, and we can test different iterations, different solutions, and have a conversation with the team about what direction we want to go in. So yeah, when it comes to digital products and services, there are good ways to leverage AI to start kind of really bringing these ideas to life and making them tangible and really helping with those important conversations that we're going to have as the team, which ultimately lead us into developing and launching new products and services. So yeah, to conclude, I've shown quite a few things today, but I think the magic of leveraging AI in the right places to actually help the team is, and being able to do that in a centralized space, is the ability to actually connect the workflow together, which I think is super exciting opportunity, where you have the right data contained in the right place, and then you have the ability to synthesize this into something actionable. We're able to leverage the kind of processing power of AI with the right context to help us come up with more ideas, do this quicker, and arguably test multiple solutions to problems, so that we are more likely to arrive at the right idea. And in order to do this, we can bring ideas to life visually through prototyping, for example, to improve the way that we communicate what different requirements can manifest as, so that information isn't lost and communication isn't a blocker to creating the right solution. And of course, once we have launched a solution, we're going to have a whole load of data that gives us feedback on what's working and what's not working. So this kind of takes us back in a loop to the beginning. So just to end by showing the power of this flows functionality, allows you to connect here, if I zoom in, different parts of a workflow. So we have epics here broken down into user stories. We can sketch out what a user flow could look like, or get a first go at it. We can more easily have a conversation collaboratively as a team around something that feels a bit more real and tangible. So it's helping us with that critical judgment we need to show as we progress. And then we can even break this down into a list of milestones, or even a roadmap that we can display as a Kanban, for example, to keep track of the progress we're making. So for the point of this talk, obviously I have focused most of my time on showing some of the ways that AI can help across the journey. But the main point is that this is about AI helping the team at moments where it is genuinely going to be valuable, if you have the right data and you have the right trust, therefore, in the output. And that trust is going to come from your expertise in knowing what good looks like, and taking the time to review the output and finding and experimenting with the best ways to use AI in way, and discovering ways that are going to be helpful. And that is about experimenting and testing some of the things that I've shown today. So hopefully I've given enough food for thought to encourage people to test out and discover what's valuable for themselves and their teams. Maybe some of what I've showed isn't valuable, some of it is. But if you would like to test out some of this new functionality and explore for yourself, then please scan this QR code. It should go through to a way to get some early access, so you can experiment for yourself. But thank you so much for having me and giving me the chance to introduce some of the ways that we're thinking about how AI can be valuable, and some ways that you could leverage AI in requirements engineering as well. But happy to pause for questions. If you're on the board as well, please feel free to leave feedback. I've left some other resources here and my contact details if you'd like to reach out to me with feedback and questions as well. But yeah, I'll pause there because I think we'll probably have like 5 minutes left for questions, and keen to hear what people think. But yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll hand back to the team.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Rory. This was super interesting. I liked the vision that you shared, that any tool, especially when thinking of AI today, could use us and it could support us in our daily work. And I also liked the vision of Miro sharing the where let's say different inputs could come together. Something's generated. For sure, we always need the experts reviewing the things because I mean, the responsibility still stays with us, with the human, at least in the next years. I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And so I think that's super interesting. Coming to some questions, because I've seen some questions already drop in the chat. Maybe let me start with an easy one. I think is the sidekick like a kind of reviewer?
In the case of the one that I made, I suppose it is, yeah. But you could create a sidekick for anything really. You could create a sidekick for just writing acceptance criteria or giving it specific tasks. Like in the edit function, I have given it a set of instructions. So this is fairly broad. But I've seen also, for example, on this, you might create a sidekick that's trained on lots of reports into the India's tourism industry, for instance, like lots of information that's probably a bit too much to read through for any one person, and your time's better spent in other areas. But if you give this sidekick that knowledge, then you can almost have a chat with that expertise and say, according to this report, what are the key points that I should be aware of as I move through this project, and it can help you out there. So yeah, this example is a bit more like a reviewer, but you could create other types of sidekicks if you wanted to.
Great, thank you. There was another one.
Yeah.
You mentioned that
it can pull data from the internet, and actually one thing I quite like to do with it is to tell it to always specify the source that the information has come from. So you can give it the reports, you can give it the knowledge based on PDFs or other forms of data, but you can give it access to the internet as well. But in the instructions, I specify, always tell me where the answer has come from, especially if it's from a web search.
Great. There was another question. It was more or less related to the refining of existing prompts. I think they are able to be refined because I think they were set up by you in the just to have something for the presentation, correct?
Oh yeah, they are. I think this is something a topic I'm interested in, actually, of like iterating on prompts improving them, and then especially when it comes to like organizations, almost having like a saved series of prompts that have been tested. So yeah, mine were very basic and just built for this demo, but yeah, I definitely encourage you to change them and test out the output, and hopefully it's more valuable to what you're doing.
Perfect, great. One last question I have seen in the chat so far. This was more on the way to export documents. So maybe, especially if not everyone has access to Miro, I think it's a great question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Yeah, the answer is yes. Well, it is definitely yes for PDFs, CSV files. Let's just test one out, for example, so you get a sense of it. So export as PDF. So yeah, you can't currently export as a Microsoft doc, but you could move the data into a doc if you wanted to.
Yeah, I've seen also Markdown, something like this. This means it's at least you have a chance to export the topics. Okay, that's great. Good. Let's have a look. There is another question. Can Miro decide on appropriate requirement or citation methods?
what's the question here exactly? Which requirement elicitation method would be most appropriate?
I think so. But yeah, I think that's the question.
I think it's one of those ones, if you like programmed the AI assistant with the right knowledge of different methods, then maybe it could help. But yeah, that's probably a combination of like your expertise and then programming one of those AI sidekicks with the right, very specific knowledge to be able to help with that.
Yeah, great. I also think that still the, let's say, skills need to be in the people who are doing this job, also selecting appropriate methods and also reviewing these things, knowing what to do, and then I think a tool could support you in the end. So before coming to an end on our side, because we have already reached the end of the session, at least when I look into the timing. So thanks again for everyone joining. Thanks to Dr. Pramod Kumar. Thanks to Surendra Saxena for establishing this community. It is a great pleasure for us on the IREB side. And thank you to Rory for this excellent presentation. And I have shared a link, and I would like to ask you, all the participants, if you have any topics you would like to talk about in the future. Please let us know directly after this session or even later. I've also set up a forms document where you could leave your ideas and thoughts that you would like to talk about. Please share it with us, because I think, as mentioned in the very beginning, the community is for you. We would like to answer the questions that you are burning for, that you are, let's say, interested in, and that's all we want to do. Thank you so much. Pramod, Surendra, any last words from your side?
First, thanks a lot, Rory. This was really a very insightful session and very thought-provoking. Also gave us a lot of glimpse into what possibilities that tools or AI can offer to really help us do our work better. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I think, a good way to start the community. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rory. And a good start for the community to take it forward, and good start for this interaction. Maybe we might invite you in future if we have very specific thoughts to be shared from your end on Miro or AI assistants. We will be inviting you in coming days or coming months.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.